is opening day 2028, and I am so excited to get into this year after our frustration last year of just missing out on a playoff spot. I don't know if we would have had a deep run. Who knows? If you get hot, anything can happen. But this year is going to be by far the most exciting year yet. Not only are we a better team, preseason ranked 17th. Again, I think we're better than that. I think we're a top 10 team in this league. We've got sixth in pitching, seventh in contact. We do not have a lot of power. We may have to add a power bat at some point in the year. Let's take a look as later on we'll watch us take on the Angels on opening day. But let's take a look at our pitching rotation to start. So McClanahan is going to continue to be our ace. Boz is going to be the second pitcher in our rotation. Matt Manning, who we traded for last year, is going to be the third pitcher. Taj Bradley, who I've got a couple question marks around, is going to be in the fourth spot, and Emerson Hancock is going to be in the fifth spot. I talked about him last year. He plays above his rating. I don't know how he went down 1 hits per nine. We haven't even played a game yet, but okay. But he only costs us $2 million, and I think he's going to be about a 4 ERA if he is able to do what he did last year. We have 2 rookies in the long relief role, Seymour and Montgomery. I wanted some more lefties in here. Seymour and Montgomery, I don't know how good they're going to be. We may end up having to move them around, but if you look and see, unfortunately, the CPU automatically put them in there after spring training. I have the rosters and lineups set to manual for myself, but they don't have any options left. So we might have to figure something out with them quickly in the season. As far as middle relief, we have Joyce, Clevenger, and Henriquez. Actually, I'm going to switch Joyce and Rasmussen and get Rasmussen in the middle relief role. Joyce and Uceda are going to be setup guys for us, and then Hunter Gaddis is going to be our closer. He ended up coming in and closing last year. He had 27 saves and 4 blown saves. He was in a relief role in the beginning. That's why he has 17 holds. But he had an unbelievable ERA, a whip of .84. I mean, he's amazing. He is awesome. He was an all-star 2 years ago, even though he had, I guess the ERA wasn't as good, but he had pretty much just as good of a year, less innings. All right, I guess I see the case for that. So that's our rotation. Let's talk about our lineup. I'm so excited for this. So Hyesung Kim's coming back. Lars Nootbaar was our big move in the offseason. I don't know why these guys are regressing. I don't know if I've seen this before. This doesn't make any sense. But we've got him for 2 years, and he's going to be batting in the 2 spot for us. Xavier Edwards is going to be in the 3 spot. He's got 99 clutch and unbelievable contact. So no power, but this is a guy who can drive in runners who are on second or third base. Junior Caminero in a future-defining year. Part of me wants to say extend him and build around him no matter what, just for fun. But if he doesn't turn out to be as valuable as I think he really could be, he's going to be really, really expensive. I mean, look, he's an 80 overall with A potential and has been an even player for his career. So he still has 2 more years of arbitration. He's only costing us $4.4 million this year. But as I said, this is I think I've said this in every season, but it continues to be a big year every year for Junior. Nolan Shonewell is going to be in the 5th spot for us, and then our generational catcher is up and in the majors at 19 years old. He went from 80 to 85 potential last year, and all eyes are on him to become Rookie of the Year this year. That is going to be a storyline throughout this season. That's one of our goals, and I hope that we can achieve it. I think it's very reasonable to achieve that. Oh, shoot. Why does he have .009 MLB service? When would he have ever come up? I have everything set to manual. Does that mean he's not a rookie? Oh, no. I'm just seeing this live. This could be devastating. Well, either way, he's going to be amazing in our roster and going to help us compete. Palacios is back in left field. Wenzel Perez, who we got in the offseason, is going to be playing center field for us. And then Braden Taylor is going to play shortstop. Xavier Edwards is a shortstop, but his defense is so bad that that's just a liability. So we need Braden Taylor to play shortstop for us. We have Dalton Rushing as our backup catcher. Michael Hellman, who we got in the Rule 5 draft, is a utility guy. 500 grand for him. He can play anywhere. So if things go haywire, he's there to fill in. Tristan Peters and Aiden Smith are the other two guys up for us right now. I might replace Nilo. I mean, I need to see what he does in AAA because he's not been as good as I thought. So we'll check maybe a month into the season and potentially bring up Dante Nilo. Quickly looking at our prospects as we head into the year. Graham Williamson is still the number one prospect overall. We have 4 guys in the top 10 on our team. So very exciting. We've done fairly well in the drafts. Our top 20 in the organization: Williamson, Arnez, Fabregas, Swigum, Diaz, and Pyle. Again, I think Pyle is our best pitcher prospect, but he is 4th on the list according to the CPU. Fabregas is going to be really good, but still yet to be seen with him. Swigum was kind of a surprise last year. There's a very good chance he ends up being a trade piece because his walks per 9 are really bad. But I want to keep my eye on him. We've got a couple closers. We saw Arnez before. We drafted him as our second pick in round 1 last year. So we will keep our eyes on him. And then we have Heim, who we've had in our system for a while. I'm mistaking you for Beck. Beck we've had in our system for a while. He hasn't developed as quickly as I thought he might, but he's still only 21. Maybe by his age 23 or 24 season, he'll be joining the team. And then you see Carson Williams and Dante Nilo. These are 2 guys who could get called up this year. Carson Williams is 72 overall. I said it before, I want to get his contact vision disciplined up in about 60, and that would put him, kind of in the 76, 77 range for his overall, and that is when we will bring him up. Again, why does he have .002 MLB service? Something is going on. I'm worried that is going to ruin these guys' chances at being rookies. I actually don't know how that works, so we might learn a hard lesson this year. Nilo is close. I mentioned he might come up. We'll see. And that's really all the guys I wanted to go through on the prospect side. So I am feeling optimistic about the year. There's some exciting storylines to watch. We're going to be competitive for a playoff spot. We're going to be willing to make a move if we need to. I showed you already that we have upped our budget quite a bit from where we were at year 1. And, in our fictional world, we're definitely in the new owner era now, where the Rays are starting to be a team that's willing to give out longer and larger contracts than they are in real life in 2025. So with all that being said, let's get into opening day. I'm so excited. Let's get it started. Real quick, I was curious how badly I might have screwed up here. I had to look up MLB rookie eligibility, and apparently you're still considered a rookie if you have had less than 130 at-bats or 50 innings pitched, or what I think is the key for Williamson is that he definitely does not have 45 days on the active roster. And you know what? I actually think that this .009 MLB service was just from me getting us to the first day of the season. So, gosh, I really hope I didn't screw that up because I want that rookie of the year. But either way, he's going to be awesome to watch this year. So, all right, let's get into opening day. The first at-bat in the career of Graham Williamson is happening in the top of the first on opening day against the Angels, that he drills one right up the middle, 109 off the bat, rounding second base. Richie Palacios comes home, and Graham Williamson hits an RBI single, and that is his first hit and RBI of his career. How about that? Opening day, We're already up 3-0. Palacios hit a 2-run double just before Graham. Hold on to that ball, Stephen Vogt. Get that in the dugout. That is going to be a highlight for years to come as the storied career of Graham Williamson is about to begin. Just drills that right up the middle. Look at the long hair just flowing. What a start. Shane McClanahan takes the hill once again on opening day in year 3 of his 6-year contract, $24 million a year, and he gives up a line drive into left field to start the year. Shane has stuck with us through a couple of pretty tough years, and we were in the playoff hunt, just missed out last year, and he's back as we've got the best team that we've fielded so far, I think by far in this rebuild. The Marlins tie it up in the first. Shane gives up a couple hits. And then a homer from Luke Raley. We're back for Graham Williamson's 3rd career at-bat. As he sends that deep into right field. Trout coming back. That's going to be off the wall. The runner's hustling around. And Graham Williamson with a double, moving runners over to second and third. He's at an immediate impact in the first game of his career. Michael Hellman, our Rule 5 draft pickup, is actually getting the start today. And he's coming in with the bases loaded and 1 out and gets a fastball right down the middle. That's out to right field. Is that going to be deep enough to send the runner from third? Headed to the plate. And the throw is up the line. The game is tied. Michael Hellman coming up big in the top of the 5th as the Rays tie the game. The 1-2 to Nootbaar, and that's hit into right field, but Trout's got it, and the Angels get out of it, but the Rays do tie it up in the 5th. Williamson back at the plate. And that is smoke to center field. Going back, deep. And it's caught on the track, but that will tie the game. That is 2 hits for Williamson that missed being home runs by a couple of feet. But he continues to shine. Another RBI for Williamson. Junior Caminero stepping in with a full count. Rays down 1 in the top of the 9th. And that is swung on and grounded to second base. 2 away. The Rays down to their final out. Left fielder Richie Palacios steps in. It's up to Richie Palacios, the 1-1. And that is lined in the left field, but that's going to stay up. And the Rays lose to the Angels 8-7 on opening day 2028. The Rays bounce back from the opening day loss with a win in the second game of the year and a 12-0 blowout in Game 3. And Graham Williamson had 2 home runs in this game, already fitting right into the majors. Graham Williamson steps to the plate, 4 for 4 on the day, a triple away from the cycle as the Rays are once again blowing out the Angels in their home stadium. It's 13-1. 3-1 count. 3-1. And that misses. Williamson walks. He's been on base 5 times today. The Rays offense is firing to start the year. 17 hits and 14 runs in the last game of a 4-game set against the Angels. The Rays start the year 6-3 as we head into the first week of scouting. I want to check here under the awards while Grant Williamson is currently the front runner for MVP, 9 games into the year, 18 RBIs in 9 games. I want to see, though, Rookie of the Year. Yes, Graham Williamson is still considered a rookie. Thank God. And look at, I mean, there were 9 games in, but wow. Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. The Rays are now 12-4, and we just swept the Boston Red Sox in a 4-game series. It's starting to come together. What a start to the year. Who else but Graham Williamson is at the plate in the top of the ninth against Matt Strahm with 2 runners on. The Rays down 1. Williamson has worked the count to 2-0 against the lefty Matt Strahm. What can he do in the top of the ninth? And he lines that one to third base. A nice play over there to second for 1, to first for 2. Williamson not able to come up big this time as he hits into a double play. Nice play by Michael Garcia. If Williamson can't do it, how about Junior Caminero? Swinging at the first pitch, and that's blooped into center field. Is that going to get down? No, it is caught. And the Royals close out a 1-0 win against the red-hot Rays offense. Bases are loaded, top of the 10th in Boston. Xavier Edwards is trying to get the Rays the lead and win the series. Pitch is on its way, and that is hit into left field, and that is going to be caught. Xavier Edwards not able to come up with anything here at the top of the 10th. And Boston ends up winning 8-7 in 11 innings. Rafael Devers still on the Red Sox in this game. Not in real life. He's on the Giants. But he hits a big home run. He's the player of the game as the Red Sox take the series. 5 weeks into the season, the Rays have cooled off a little bit at 19-16, still 3 games above 500, but also 3 games behind the Orioles and 1 game behind the Yankees. As far as Graham Williamson, he is still in pole position for Rookie of the Year with 9 homers and 30 RBIs, batting .333 to start the year. Our rotation, McClanahan's not had a great start. He's at a 4.38 ERA. Boz has been good. Matt Manning has been cold. I think he'll turn this around, but he struggled a bit. 4.66 ERA. Taj Bradley has had a bounce-back year, 3.05 ERA. And then Emerson Hancock, of all of those guys, at 75 overall, has had the best start to the season. Although he is 2-3 in games with a decision, he has been doing his part with a 2.43 ERA and a 1.14 WHIP. He is $2.4 million this year. That is awesome. I need to make some changes. I need to send Seymour down or trade him. I mean, his options are gone. I've got to figure something out with Seymour because he has struggled. Maybe we can hide him in the rotation, but Montgomery's been pretty good despite being only 66 overall. Rasmussen's been good. Clevenger's struggled to start the year. Enriquez has been struggling. Joyce too. And then Uceda and Gaddis have been really good. And Gaddis has been unbelievable, although he's regressed a little bit. But he's been amazing, 0.82 ERA. That is where we're at as far as our rotation. In the lineup, Hyesung Kim's not been doing too great. Nootbaar's been okay. Xavier Edwards is hot. Junior Caminero struggling, although he does have 5 home runs. Nolan Schanuel's not doing too great. Graham Williamson, we just saw. Palacios has been unbelievable, batting .380 to start the year, almost a 1.1 OPS. Juanso Perez has been good, and Braden Taylor has not been too good. So we've definitely cooled off a little bit. I've started scouting some position players, nothing too notable just yet. We have the 11th pick, I believe it is, this year. So I'll let you know if anything happens on the scouting side. But we need to turn this back around and get back to winning as the calendar turns to May. Shea Baz is currently in 3rd place in the Cy Young voting, but the reason I'm recording this, look who is in 1st place. Ryan Pepio. I guess he really did just need a change of scenery. He is off to a blazing start with the Tigers to start the year. They gave him $15 million this year. Wow, that would have been worth it if I knew then what I know now. It is early, but look at Ryan Pepio. Williamson with the pink bat as we're celebrating Mother's Day. Takes a fastball high. He's got a 2-0 count here. Can he get something to drive? He got to sit fastball on Bautista. The 2-0. And that is going to be popped up into center field. Bautista gets out of it, gets the save as the Rays lose to the Mets. We've got to get something going here soon. I want to reinforce the bullpen early in the year, and I want to move off of Ian Seymour, who is currently in the long relief role. He is out of options, so I can't send him down to the minors. I think our only option is to trade him. The Padres are looking for a starter. They have Johnny Brito, who I really, really like his stats. He's only a 780K. He's off to a kind of a slow start this year, but he pitched 116 innings last year at a 2.55 ERA, the only year that's in our simulation window here. So he may not have a whole lot of great pitching left, but at least for this year and maybe for a couple years after, he could really help us out. But we need him now, and I don't want to have Seymour up anymore. So we're going to make this move, and we're going to slot Brito into the middle relief, and I'm going to move Drew Rasmussen into long relief with Mason Montgomery. Dante Nalo has been cold in AAA, although he does have a 732 OPS. But I'm going to wait for him to get hot and probably bring him up to replace Smith and Peters, who are up right now, or Peters, and just give us that little bit of extra boost that we need offensively. So I'll keep you posted. Once Nolo turns things around, we're going to give him a shot. He's been patiently waiting since the very first pick of this rebuild, and I think it's about time. Even though I think his hitting stats still aren't all the way there, I think it's about time that we give him a shot. We're heading into week 8 of scouting. I still have not found the position player that I really want to take at the top of the board. I'll show you who I've scouted. We scouted a shortstop who quickly fell down the board. We scouted a couple left fielders. I think that Zaccaro might be an option, but I don't love his bat, and I think if I scouted him one more week, I probably should. I might do that just to see. And then we scouted a couple right fielders. I would say that John Wise is my best bet right now. We've got the 11th pick. He looks decent. And then another right fielder also fell down the board here early. As far as pitchers, though, the pitchers have risen up the board a lot. Jack Hafey has gone up. Tommy Chavez. We have a discovery guy, Jason Gill, who does have super low walks per 9, unfortunately. But he's going to come in with almost guaranteed high potential. And as you see, I mean, a bunch of pitchers have moved up the board. We do have another discovery guy here in Valentin, who's a lefty. But it's been not the best start. Hopefully I can find one or two guys that I feel really good about getting in that first round, and then turn to some later round guys and try to find a couple position player gems towards the end of the draft. We're taking on the Mets once again in the top of the 9th, 7-7. Bases are loaded for Hyun-Sung Kim, and it's Felix Bautista. I feel like we've seen this guy a bunch in the games that I've entered. I've got our simulation setting set to pretty high, so we're going to enter in really high leverage situations. As it goes to 2-0 against Kim. I really want to catch a great moment, and film a big walk-off hit, so maybe Kim can be that guy. He does have the platoon advantage being a lefty. On the 2-0, he gets a fastball right down the middle, and he's going to line out to center field. Not this time. We're not able to catch a good walk-off. Well, it would have been in the top of the 9th, but not able to catch a big moment on camera just yet. The Rays do end up pulling off the victory against the Mets as Junior Caminero wins Player of the Game. He hit a home run, his 8th of the year. The Rays had 19 hits, putting up 8 runs. Nice to see us pull out a victory here in New York. It looks like that trade might have sparked a little bit of something, as well as our offense getting hotter here as we beat the Yankees 8-0, St. Louis 5-1, 9-4. The Mets, we put up 8, and then we put up 4-1. This Mets game was the game that we entered with Hyun-Sung Kim and the bases loaded. We did win this game 4-1. We're up to 33-27, 6 games behind. We are, however, in the second wildcard spot. The Royals and the Tigers are surrounding us, and then the Yankees and Angels are also in the hunt. As far as the NL, the Diamondbacks and the Brewers are in the wild card spots, and then the Dodgers are leading in the West, Pirates in the Central, and the Mets, who we just faced and have one more game against, are in pole position in the National League East. Let's check real quick. Let's see if Johnny Brito in his recent games. Okay, looks like he had one big blow up here against New York, but pitched 4 innings to a 0 ERA with 6 strikeouts against St. Louis. Also had another good start against LA, and then I can't remember where we traded him. I don't know when we traded for him, but we'll keep our eye on him going into the rest of the year. Mason Montgomery, he's also probably going to have to go. I don't think I can realistically keep this guy on the lineup. And I don't know if anybody else would want him. I'll look around for a trade. But, yeah, I can't keep putting Mason Montgomery out there in long relief. I think we've got to get Drew Rasmussen in that role and find another reliever to take over in middle relief. McClanahan's been hot. He's down to a 3.86 ERA. Shane Baz has been good. Matt Manning's been okay. And then Bradley's been good. And then Emerson Hancock is pitching to a 1.83 ERA in 12 starts. Talk about a great start. Just for fun, let's check the awards real quick. Graham Williamson is still Rookie of the Year. Aiden Smith is also here. But Graham Williamson has a pretty decisive lead. I hope we can get this award. This has been a big goal for us. And then going back to the Cy Young, I was wondering if somehow Hancock was going to be in here for the Cy Young. He's not. Pepio's still here, but he's fallen down a little bit. And Bryce Miller, who's 7-0 to start the year. I actually looked at him briefly in the offseason because his stats look amazing. But he ended up going and staying with the Mariners, where he has spent his whole career so far. And he's been really, really good. So maybe someday we go after him. I don't know. We'd have to pay a really pretty penny, especially if he wins the Cy Young. But that's a look around the league as the Rays are starting to turn things around here 60 games into the year. Junior Caminero has 2 home runs today. He is stepping up in the bottom of the 9th with the Rays down 2 runners on. Facing Devin Williams. Has this guy played for like every team? No, he's been mostly on the Yankees, right, throughout this rebuild. They must have just recently traded him to the Mariners. As Junior sends that up the right field line, the right fielder is hunting it down, and that will be caught. The Mariners close out the Rays with Kyle Tucker in right field there. I want some more bullpen help. We got to get off Mason Montgomery in the exact same position that we were in with Ian Seymour, who we traded earlier in the year. He is out of options. He's still on a renewable contract. He's cheap. He could develop into something. He's a lefty. Super high velo. But he has not pitched much for us at all. We don't really need him. And he has a 7 ERA when he has come in with 1.61 walks and hits per 9, or walks and hits per inning pitched. So the Tigers are willing to give us Tyler Holton, who's a lefty, and Mason Montgomery, who's also a lefty. And they are also willing to give us a reliever prospect who does have C potential, but he has the stats that I'm looking for. And he might have mid to high C potential, and we can keep him in our system. So this is going to be our next move. We are really trying to win this year, and I think that probably favored the Tigers a little bit in the long term, but we need Tyler Holton now. So with Tyler Holton now in the bullpen, we've got 2 lefty relievers that I have a lot more confidence in, although Clevenger hasn't been off to the best start, but he's there for that clutch and the ability to get us out of a jam. And then Tyler Holton has also amazing clutch, but he's also got great hits per 9, great walks per 9, and he has Road Warrior and Stopper. So he'll be coming in. I don't know if I mentioned this, he's at a $2.7 million deal, so we are willing to spend a bit of money here. It's not a whole lot, And then we've still got our three-headed monster of Joyce, Uceda, and Hunter Gaddis in the back end of the bullpen. Hancock's still been amazing. Bradley good. Manning only okay. And then Boz has been great. McClanahan, I expect that he will turn this around. The whip is low, 1.13. So I think his ERA is a little higher than the whip. Just needs to get a little bit of luck here. We're 5.5 games behind behind the Orioles, and we are still in a wild card spot. Our big offseason signing, Lars Nootbaar, is back at the dish with 1 out, bases loaded, top of the 10th, and he's going to lay down a bunt, and that is going to get in the go-ahead run. It's 4-3. Nootbaar, I didn't really sign him to bunt, but that was really well done. The boys are fired up as the Rays take the lead, and that was a design play. As a reminder, I did not do any input there. That was all the CPU laying that down. The tall righty Hunter Gaddis is in, looking to finish this game off in the bottom of the 10th as he gets Pozo to fly out to right field, and that is going to do it. Nootbaar catches that, and the Rays do take down the Blue Jays. The Rays just got swept by the division leaders, the Orioles. 3-game set. The Rays are 38-32, chasing the Orioles, who are just dominating, 45-23 through the first 68 games of the year. What can Wenzel do? Batting .255, able to foul off a good pitch, sinker down and away. That's 4 fouls in a row. Can this be the 1-2 where he puts one in play? It can be. That is lined up the middle. Runners rounding second, looking to put the lead to 4-2, and that ball's cut off. Wenzel Perez comes up clutch in the 10th. The Rays lead 4-2. The count is 2-2. Gaddis looking to close this out for the Rays.
Ball. Full count.
Hunter Gaddis has come in to replace Ben Joyce, and we've got a full count, 2 outs, bottom of the 10th. Gaddis delivers, and that is a perfect fastball in the outside corner. The Rays close it out. Wenzel Perez, the hero in extra innings. Let's take a quick look at how the prospects are developing. We have Marcelo Arnez is the second-ranked prospect in the league, closing pitcher. He has not been as good as I would have thought in AAA at a 3.41 ERA, but he is 21 of 23 in his save opportunity, so that's really good. We also have Josh Swigum. Let's go to our page here. So Josh Swigum is our top starter prospect, according to the board here. He is currently in single A, so he's 58 overall, so I'm letting him develop for a year in A-ball. Elvis Fabregas in double A has a 2.64 ERA. He's pitching very well. Rico Diaz, who, if you recall, was the number 1 prospect when we first drafted him in that next year. He's now our 4th best prospect. He is still in A-ball as he's 58 overall, but I expect to bring him up to double A. My only concern with Diaz is that he only has 61 stamina, so this may be another guy who ends up becoming a long reliever. Aaron Pyle, who we have seen now for, would be the 3rd year that he's been in our system. He's pitching very well in AAA, and I would potentially be willing to bring him up if we needed to. I wouldn't mind giving him 1 more year and then bringing him up next year to replace Manning, who we only got for 1 year. He could also replace Bradley. So those are some of our top guys. We have seen Vincent Beck now for a while. He's not doing too well this year in AAA. And then Carson Williams does continue to develop. His contact versus righties is up to 64. His defense is still elite. He has gained a little bit of power. His vision and discipline has not improved as much as I would like, but he is hitting very well, and he's got an 819 OPS, so I could see him coming up next year. So that was just a check on the farm. Oh, let's take a look at Nilo. Nilo has not gotten too hot. He's got a 731 OPS. I don't know what we're going to do with Nilo, man. I really want to bring him up, but it just doesn't make that much sense unless he's raking more in AAA, because it's going to be a lot harder to do that in MLB. So All right. Well, that was just a check down on some of our prospects. Let's get back to scouting and playing this season. It's been a really tough year for Junior Caminero through 72 games. He is batting 178. His OPS is 562. I don't know how it could really be this bad. I mean, he's got the stats to be, close to an 800 OPS guy, if not better than that. So I want to see something out of Junior because it would be so fun to extend him. He's the Rays, new franchise guy in real life in 2025 as I'm filming this. And oh man, it just breaks my heart a little bit that he continues to struggle. On the other hand, 78 overall Richie Palacios continues to be amazing through 64 games. He has a 929 OPS. He's got 10 home runs, 44 RBIs. He's been amazing. How about a scouting update? We have finally found a mid-round gem in Ken Stapleton, who is 18 years old, a first baseman who has elite contact, good vision and discipline, and he could even end up being my first round pick. We have the 11th pick in the draft, and so I was just it's been kind of a slow start to scouting, but things are starting to come together. We've also got another potential promising mid-round gem here in Carson Everett, again with elite contact, also has pretty good speed and stealing. He has stayed pretty in a similar spot on the board from where he started. However, I have hope that he's going to improve. We're starting to transition our pitching scout into looking at some of the discovery guys that we didn't get a chance to look at. But I want to talk about pitching to start because this is an insane pitching class, and there's a good chance that we're going to end up going pitcher also in the first round, depending on if any of these guys can fall. As I just scroll through here, you'll see that there's a lot of good pitchers who moved up the board. We do have one discovery guy who's 21 who has guaranteed high B into A potential. The only problem is that he has low walks per nine, but this would be an awesome pick. More and more guys have moved up the board. Scrolling through, Connie Marsh. I think this might be the most I've ever seen a player move up the board. George Navarro also has super low walks per nine. I want to open my mind to other opportunities here than just that, but he moved up from 100 all the way to 25. And then we have Milo Valentin, another discovery guy. Looks pretty solid. He's a lefty. This guy was injured. But, a few guys, of course, moved down the board. But there's a lot of guys, pitching-wise, who moved up the board. And so we do have some options there. I have started to scout a few relievers. There was one discovery reliever who ended up being pretty bad, unfortunately. I think he started the draft rank at like 75 or 80 and tanked. And then Doug Rosas, you can see, was 96, and he also fell down the board. So with the limited, you don't have that many weeks of scouting, so you've got to try to maximize it the best you can. So let's finish things up here. We're only 2 weeks away from the MLB draft. I feel okay about how things have gone so far.
My mic did not record the draft, which is unfortunate because it is interesting maybe to hear my thoughts in person live as I'm doing this. I'm sorry if the quality is really bad here. I would invest more in some better equipment if these videos get some more traction over time here. I'm just contemplating between a couple of picks. Our outfielder, John Wise, went a few picks before us, who I probably would have taken in the first slot. But ultimately, I am going to go with Ken Stapleton here, who's going to be an 18-year-old project first baseman with great contact, vision, discipline, all the skills that tend to simulate well in this game. And then the board starts to really turn to pitcher. So I'm going to go with Jason Gill here, 21-year-old who has guaranteed high potential. And you'll see I think I go pitchers all the way through the rest of the draft. There's a bunch of discovery guys, which if you're not discovering, this is definitely a good strategy. You pretty much guarantee yourself some decent B potential guys towards the end of the draft, because once you get past pick like 70 or 80. It's very hard to get a position player that's going to actually play. I'm scrolling through here. Things start to get rough, so I end up getting auto picked to Jackie Jones. I was between him and another guy, and I would have gone with the other guy. So I screwed up there. I forgot that it goes down to 1 minute. I contemplated for too long. So I needed to be a little bit more decisive there. From here, we just have to really take a swing at it in the very dregs of the draft at this point. I still have some discovery relievers on there. And I have really just no expectations for these guys. But Miguel Hernandez is a lefty, and I do prefer lefties a little bit, generally speaking. And that's going to do it for the draft. So I apologize I didn't get the audio. I really just, as I usually do, went back and forth between a bunch of picks. But we will see how we did here in a few weeks. So the audio actually didn't record for a handful of clips here, and right now I'm looking at the All-Star voting, and Graham Williamson is the top vote getter for a catcher in his rookie season. He's already at 88 overall, just getting better at an exponential rate. Also receiving some votes was Drew Rasmussen for relievers. He's kind of far down the board, and I don't think he'll end up actually getting it, but it's proven to be a good choice to stick with Rasmussen. As I flip through here, I don't see anybody until I get to Xavier Edwards. And it's funny, he's actually getting voted in as the shortstop, but he is DHing because his defense is so atrocious. So Junior Caminero continues to struggle this year. I can't explain why. So I'm going to try to adjust the strategy a little bit because I don't want to give up on him. Look, he's got negative 1.3 WAR. I don't know what his deal is, but we're going to move off of Joe Boyle. He's a B potential starter that we're just not going to end up using. He's got quite a bit of value because of his potential. I think he's like 78 overall at this point. And as you're seeing on the screen, Caminero's stats. But there's a third baseman on the Giants who looks like he is able to crush righties. And he's 20 years old, 75 overall with B potential. And so I want to pair him with Caminero. And by the way, Figueroa looks really, really good. That's what I'm saying here in this clip as I'm doing a voiceover. He looks awesome. And I think it's a steal to trade Boyle for him, who's not been that good for us. He's got a 705 OPS here, does Figueroa. So the plan is we're going to have Figueroa come in to hit against righties, and then we're going to have Junior hit only against lefties because he does have 80 contact against lefties. So I want to work with him and try to put him in a better position to succeed because I think he's just getting killed by the righties, and that's why he's struggling to develop and putting up really poor stats. So Boyle is a very small price to pay, in my opinion, considering how many pitchers we've gotten. So I'm going to make this trade to the Giants, and we'll go with the platoon at third base. So to make room for Figueroa, we're going to send down Tristan Peters. I don't need him up in the outfield. We've got a handful of outfielders, and he is mostly riding the bench and not being that effective. Plenty of team control on him and 3 options left, so there's no issues with me sending him down here. And that is going to make room on the lineup for Figueroa. So you see, I've got him in against righties, and the Junior is going to be in against lefties, where he should simulate a lot better. So this is the last clip where I need to do a voiceover. As you can see, we are 1 game over 500, 12 games back of the Orioles, who are just absolutely crushing it in our division. We are 1.5 games behind a wild card. And I don't know exactly why we've fallen a little bit. I feel like besides Caminero, most of the guys were doing decently well through this point in the season. Graham Williamson especially has been fantastic all-star this year. Hyesung Kim was another guy who was really struggling. And he's very good, running the bases and defensively, but his performance at the plate has been awful so far for the year. And I am looking here at Matt Manning, who we paid $15 million for. We traded for him last year, and he's improved a little bit. I think he was in the fours earlier. He's gotten down to 3.83 for his ERA. Some of the guys in AAA are doing very well. Pyle and Fredrickson. Manning, I hope for a little bit more from him, to be completely honest with you. But 3.83 ERA is not awful. Xavier Edwards, who is also an All-Star, has been fantastic. Carson Williams, who is in AAA, and I want to be our long-term shortstop for the later end of this rebuild. That's my hope, anyway. I want some of the Rays prospects that people know, in real life right now, to be part of this team for fun. He seems to hit better than his stats really show in AAA. And he can play second base, so I'm kind of contemplating bringing him in to replace Hyun Kim. But ultimately, I don't feel like that's the right move just yet. I don't think he's going to help us out that much, and I'm just going to use up his service time. So the most important part of this, though, is we're going to go ahead and view our draft picks. And I always like to do this live. I never look at them ahead of time, although, of course, this is a voiceover. But in the original clip, of course, I did look at this live. So I'm hoping for the best here. And as we see, Ken Stapleton comes in at 57 overall with 87 potential, 18 years old. With the way that his stats line up, I think he's going to move through the minors very quickly. Jason Gill, right below him, looks to have even higher potential, 93 potential. But the issue is the low walks per 9. I really like his pitch mix. That's probably my favorite thing about him, as well as having 80 stamina. So most likely Gill is one of those guys that we end up trading later down the road. But who knows? Navarro looked okay. Valentin looked decent. I like that he's a lefty, 78 potential. Hopefully he can be better than some of the other lefties we brought up earlier in the year. Eddie Medina was a very good pick. He was a closer with 94 potential, 71 overall. He's 21, four-seam slider cutter, kind of like not an outlier cutter, like Clase, but that was kind of who came to mind for me. And then the guys at the bottom of the board, we really just, Jackie Jones was auto-picked, so not much we can do about that. And then Hernandez, reliever, who just be potential. I mean, I just had to pick somebody at the end of this draft, if you recall. So I actually think it worked out okay, the fact that he's not complete trash. So overall, I was happy with this draft. And I think there's some guys in here that we're going to end up seeing later on, or will be good trade pieces.
After listening back to the last clip, I realized that there is one option that I haven't considered. And that is the fact that Richie Palacios, who's having a great year, he's got a 828 OPS, he could play second base. So I could end up moving Palacios to second base. I would have to release Kim or designate him for assignment because he doesn't have any options left. But he's been so bad, that might not even be a bad idea. I don't know. He could turn this around. But we've got one trick up our sleeves. And that is that we still have Dante Nolo. And now he's on the IL right now, but he's only planned to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. So when he comes back, if he's playing well, I could take Nolo and put him in Palacios' spot and then have Palacios play second base. So we'll see if I end up doing that. I want to get Nolo up here, but he still has not been that effective of a player with a negative WAR. I don't really know what it is, why he's got a negative WAR, because his stats are not that bad. So we'll see, but that is one potential option. Let's jump back into some games here as we fight for a playoff spot towards the end of the season. We are down 3-2 in Arizona. Xavier Edwards is up with 2 runners on. Can Xavier Edwards come up clutch? Helsley delivers. Misses high, he walks him. And guess who's coming up? Graham Williamson. He's 0 for 4 today. Feels like he's due. Bases are loaded for Williamson. And he drives one. And that's a great play to stop it by the first baseman. Can Williamson beat it out? No. And the Diamondbacks take this one. We have barely had Figueroa at third base, the platoon option with Junior Caminero, and he is already injured, and he might be out for the rest of the season. Fractured hand, so we're going to have to figure something else out. This is brutal. With platooning Junior Caminero for now, so I'm going to bring in our Rule 5 pickup, Michael Hellman, who's a utility player, to fill in at shortstop, actually, and I move Braden Taylor over to third base.
Enjoyed this intentionally grainy picture of Lars Nootbaar as I tell you that right after Figueroa got hurt, Lars Nootbaar got injured and will be out for the rest of the season. I lost the clip, another error on my part throughout this video, but this is just absolutely brutal. Our big signing, Lars, goes down, out for the rest of the year.
Dante is going to make his major league debut. We've put him in with the injury to Nootbaar, which is just brutal. We'll see if Dante can do well. He had the little fire symbol. He was hot when I called him up, so maybe he can transition that over into the majors. My hopes are not super high for him, but this is the best we can do right now. We have now slipped to 4 games below 500, and we are 5 games out of the wild card. I don't have enough options now that the trade deadline has come and gone. This is the best we can do. We're going to have to get really lucky. You can see we're on a 6-game losing streak. Things have got to turn around quick. Here is the long-awaited debut, the first at bat for Dante Nolo. He's facing Aaron Nola and gets a curveball. It's a good pitch to swing at. The Phillies have been struggling this year. They're 20 games below 500, although they are beating us 2-0. Matt Manning started today and struggled in the first inning. Let's see if Nolo can do something on the 1-2. A good take. Nola goes back to the curveball. From the Netherlands, Nolo hits a solid contact that's headed out into right field, but it's going to hang up, and that's going to be caught. But good contact in his first at-bat. Second career at-bat for Nolo. The Rays did get on the board on a Graham Williamson solo shot, but still trailing by 2. Let's see if Nolo can set the table here in his MLB debut. The 1-2, and that's line foul. Second at bat for Nolo. And he chases the fastball up. Not a good sign. Maybe a little bit of nerves there. Full count to Nolo in his 3rd career at bat in the MLB. Can he get it started for us? And he can. A leadoff walk for Dante Nolo. And Nolo's going to try to steal second. The throw is down. He is in there. Nolo gets himself into scoring position. His first stolen base. 2-2 to Hai-Sung Kim with 2 runners on. And he grounds that to the third baseman. That could be 2. And it's a bad throw. The Rays are going to play to run on an error. That looked like Alec Boehm over at third base. And oh my goodness. Another injury. A trainer has been called to the dugout for Michael Hellman. Brutal injury bug going through the Rays right now. You can't write the script any better. Down to the last out, Dante Nolo is up with a runner on second and a chance to tie the game.
Ball 2. 2-0, 1 strike.
Nolo swings and misses on a sweeper. 2-2 the count. And they got him swinging at a sweeper in the dirt. A tough debut for Nolo as the Rays lose to a very bad Phillies team at home. I feel the season's slipping through our fingertips right before our very eyes. With all the recent injuries, you can see we've got 3 guys on the injury list, and those are key guys for us. I'm having to go deep down the bench to find a good option to fill in, and it's going to have to be Tanner Murray, who can play all the infield positions with good defense, decent hitting stats. Maybe Tanner Murray can get hot towards the end of the year and keep us close. Hunter Gaddis is trying to close this game out at home against the Cubs, and a familiar face, Yandy Diaz, is at the plate.
One ball, two strikes.
1-2 to Diaz. And that's line to the second baseman. That could be two. To second for one. To first for two as our second baseman gets tripped by the runner. That's illegal. Nelo has actually had a pretty good start to his MLB career through 13 games and 50 at-bats. He's got 2 home runs. He's got 2 stolen bases. He's batting .260, getting on base at .302, and he's slugging with an .802 OPS. He also has Rally Monkey, so maybe that could come into play, help us get an extra win when we're trailing. But yeah, decent start for Nelo. We were able to win the weekend series against the Dodgers, who are 93-51. Maybe things are turning around as we've gotten our way back to 500. Unfortunately, that series with the Dodgers did not turn our season around. We are back to 4 games under 500. Only 2 series left, and at this point, we are 3 games out of the wild card, so we really need to win every one of those games if we're going to catch up to the Royals. This is the start of the minor league playoffs, so before the stats disappear for some of our guys in the minor leagues, I just wanted to check in on a couple guys. Carson Williams, he's probably going to play next year. He really developed. I still would like a little more out of him, but I think he's going to come up next year at some point. Theo Gillen has been very good in AAA. Kind of the all-athlete specialist, can play pretty much every position. Trey Morgan has also been really good. First base and outfielder. We don't really have anybody in AA besides Salvatore Vasquez, who's a power-hitting second baseman, and he's not been too great. He did hit 13 home runs. But he doesn't have much contact vision, discipline, or clutch, or defense. That's the only guy above C potential in AA. As far as our pitching rotation in AAA, Aaron Pyle had a good year, 3.13 ERA. I think he's going to make his major league debut next season. Austin Fredrickson also had a really good year. He may make his debut next season. William Stiles, he's not quite there yet. And similar with Jackson Bowmeister, he had a good year, but he's 76 overall. He's already reached kind of his max potential, so we'll have to see. Vincent Beck's been struggling. I don't know what's going on with him. It's got to be the low clutch. So I need to make sure his training is on clutch, which I'm pretty sure it is, but he's not been too good. Mason Englert's been great, even though he's 67 overall. I might put him in the bullpen next year. Jarvis Jones has been good. Alheim's injured, but he was good. Mario Jimenez was good. And then Manny Rodriguez has been down here, and he was pretty solid. So some good guys coming up for next year. As far as AA, Harrison 3.73 ERA, Becerra 3.09, Lucero 3.64, Ordonez 3.12, and Fernandez 2.93. Bullpen guys, everybody's got 2 or 3 ERA or better. Gilberto Pereira's been really good. 1.15 ERA in 71 games. Phenomenal. And then Phillip Yu has also been good. 2.18 ERA. So we've got some depth in the pitching department. And I think quite a few of these guys are going to be pitching for the Tampa Bay Rays next year. Graham Williamson has homered twice today. He is up for the 3rd time as he's propelled the Rays to a 6-2 lead in the top of the 9th. This is the series decider. And Williamson drills that. Left field to the monster. Gone! Williamson, 3-homer day in Fenway. And that's a 3-run shot. What a stud. His 28th on the year as a rookie. What a moment. Even though the Rays were able to take the series, we are 7 games behind in the wild card, and our season is done. We caught the injury bug in the final 2 months of the season, and it just destroyed us. That was such a disappointing year. Year 4, we have yet to make the playoffs. I really hoped for better. I've had a lot more success in other rebuilds, and it's been a rough start. We still have 6 years left in this series, as the Mariners defeat the Giants in the 2028 World Series. But man, just such a tough season. I really hope for a lot more. We do have some good news. Graham Williamson did win Rookie of the Year. That's really one of the only positives that we could take away from the season. He beat out Yusnel Bruno of the White Sox and Alejandro Rosario of the Rangers. It wasn't particularly close. Williamson hit 28 home runs. He had a 783 OPS, racked up almost 5 WAR. I almost want to get out in front of it, and we'll see in the offseason. I'm tempted to just sign him for the rest of the rebuild now. And even though he's on a renewable contract, but he's only going to get more expensive. He also won the Silver Slugger. He was an all-star. Hell of a year for Williamson. But that's really our only takeaway. So it's time to start working through the offseason. I'm really disappointed. I'm frustrated. I expected us to be somewhere in this bracket on your screen in the playoffs, and we didn't make it. Before I close out the stats for this year, Xavier Edwards was a league leader in stolen bases. Not sure if I'm going to bring him back next year. We'll see. But good for him to have 39 stolen bases. After last year's injury struggles, I'm going to look for coaches that can add a little bit of durability to the team. And I'll be looking to hire guys that can help keep our guys on the field, starting with Rolando Portillo. For our farm director, I am looking at Kurt Gund, who also has +2 durability, and he has +1 home runs per 9, which is usually not a stat I look for in our pitchers, so maybe we can get a little bit of bump there as well. Tyler Holton had a really good year for us last year. 76 innings, 2.7 ERA. He's a good lefty reliever. I am interested in bringing him back. He's a free agent, but we do have exclusive rights. I don't want to bring him for 5 years. I really just want to bring him for 2, and I am willing to pay him a little bit extra to do that. So we're going to offer him 2 years. Let's go to $3.5 million. We'll see if he accepts. Otherwise, we'll try to find a good lefty either in our farm system or during free agency. Dante Nolo ended up having a very good 34 games with us in the majors during his debut. Maybe he just needed to get out of AAA and get his butt up into the MLB, because he actually hit better in the MLB for that short stint than he ever did in AAA. He racked up 0.6 WAR as well during that time period, just 34 games. So I think he's earned himself a starting spot for next year. Newbar, we've got him for another year. Hopefully he can have a little bit better season. He was okay, but he got injured in those last 2 months, which really hurt our chances of making a run for the playoffs. After his Rookie of the Year campaign, I want to sign our catcher, generational player, Graham Williamson, to an extension that will take us through the rest of this rebuild, which only has 6 years remaining. I am offering him $12 million per year. Hopefully he accepts that. I'm definitely willing to pay him more, because he'll end up being more valuable than that. But if we can lock him down at that amount, that would be a great deal. I've made some longer-term offers to some guys that are eligible for arbitration that I really want to bring back. I offered Ben Joyce 3 years at $22 million. He's been awesome, and I mentioned before that we don't really have anybody quite like him else in our pen. And I think he's reached his max potential, so I don't want to lock. He wants 5 years. I don't want to lock him down for that long, but I am willing to go for 3 years. Juancio Perez, I offered 4 years, $56 million. The last 2 years, he has been a more than 3 WAR player playing center field. We don't have anybody else really coming up in center field, and there wasn't anybody that I wanted in free agency. I also offered Dalton Rushing 2 years, $6.4 million to be our backup catcher. Obviously, we have generational prospect, our generational player, Graham Williamson, but God forbid if he got hurt, Rushing would be a good option there. I also am willing to bring Emerson Hancock back for 1 year for $6.5 million to be our 5th spot starter, and he was awesome. He had a great year last year. And then Johnny Brito, I offered 3 years, $9.6 million. He has pitched 2 great seasons in the last 2 years. His potential actually went up, so I think he'll continue to hopefully get better. So those are the guys that I've offered. And then there's a lot of guys that I want to make moves on. Bradley, I'm probably going to move. Useda, not sure just yet. Caminero, we'll see. We might have to face the hard truth. And Xavier Edwards, I'm probably going to offer a year or offer arbitration to be our DH again. So that's the decisions I've made so far. There's a lot of work left to do. I mentioned that I offered Graham Williamson a long-term contract. This is going to take a lot of time off camera because I am very motivated to make a playoff roster next year. And we have a lot of room in our budget, but we do have estimates for arbitrations and renewals right now at 120 million, and we're at 76 million. We're going to move off of a couple guys for arbitration. So the picture will become a little clearer here in the coming clips, but that's what I've done so far. I'm going to move off Haesung Kim after the rough year he had last year, and I really want to get Jojo Romero here, lefty reliever. He's a stud, awesome stats. They're paying him $5.5 million next year, but I would like to bring him onto the team. So, Haesung Kim, you're done, and Jojo, welcome to the Rays. Several guys who were up for ARB have accepted my offers already. Ben Joyce took 3 years at $7.3 million. Emerson Hancock accepted his 1 year, $6.5 million deal. And Johnny Brito and Ronnie Henriquez both accepted their deals. So happy with all those. I think they were fair numbers. Glad they accepted them. We're at a $104 million budget right now. We're definitely going to be ramping up this year. We've got to get to the playoffs, but it's been a slog. It's been a slog. There's so many decisions to make. So just working my way through everything and keep you posted. I lowballed Gleyber Torres, and he accepted it. 2 years at $9 million. He's going to come in and play second base for us next year. How about that? I am going to move off of Colt Emerson. We experimented with him. I think we traded for him in the very first season. I don't know if he's ever going to have a spot on the team at this point. So I'm going to move off of Emerson, and I'm also going to throw in a starting pitcher who's got high C potential, a lot of room for growth to the Blue Jays. And I'm trading them for Chris Samuel, who has great hitting stats. My only concern with him is he has very low durability, so he could get hurt, but he's got plenty of room for growth, only 21. So that's going to be my move, and hopefully that works out. Another big move is transitioning away from Taj Bradley. You know, he's a good pitcher. He's just going to be really expensive, and he wanted close to $20 million in arbitration next year. And I am going to plan to bring up some of our prospects next year. And it's going to be a little bit of a pitch by committee situation with Fredrickson having low stamina. And then Pyle, I think, will be just fine. But Bradley's too expensive, and I need the budget space, and I'm not planning to keep him long term. So I'm going to trade Taj Bradley for another outfield prospect, John Wise, who I'm going to end up moving to left field, as he has those as secondary positions, but I'm going to switch him to primary left field and then secondary center and right. So it's a big move. I'm just not willing to pay Bradley that amount with a lot of the guys that we have coming up. And I want to get a few guys that can come up later in this rebuild in the field and not be super expensive. So, all right, best of luck to Taj Bradley. Our stud catcher, Graham Williamson, coming off of his Rookie of the Year, All-Star, and Silver Slugger year, accepted our 6-year deal for $12.6 million per year. That's going to take us through the end of this rebuild. He's going to be a centerpiece of this team. I can't wait to see this awards page after this rebuild is done. I think you're going to have to scroll down to see everything that he's going to get in there. So, really excited to have Williamson. And I think I'm not sure if I updated on a couple other things. Wensil Perez accepted our deal for 4 years, $14 million to play center field. I mentioned Gleyber Torres. things are starting to come together. Things are starting to come together, and I've got a good plan on the pitching side that I'll get to in a moment. Hunter Gaddis is getting a little bit too expensive, and he regressed quite a bit last year. He was only able to give us 59 innings at a 3.36 ERA, which is good, but he's not doing as well as he did in the past. And you know what? He may bounce back. Who knows? But I am not willing to pay him. It was $8 million he wanted. So I'm going to trade him for a left-handed prospect who I like his stamina. I like his clutch. Walks per nine's a little low, but I think he'll be decent. I think he could end up playing at some point. And like I said, I don't want to pay Gaddis. So I'm going to move off of him, and I'm sure we'll end up facing the Tigers in the playoffs, and Gaddis will throw 4 innings and not give up a single run. Just like Hunter Gaddis, Edwin Uceta wants too much money. I'm not willing to pay him close to $8 million. He has been really good, but I've got a different plan, and I've got other options that are cheaper that I think will be 95% as effective. So I'm going to trade him and a reliever that's probably never going to play for us for Jose Saldana, who is a pitcher prospect with C potential, but I like his walks per nine. I like his clutch. I want to see how he does in the minors. Another 2 changeup guy, splitter and changeup. But yeah, this is a payroll move. Not willing to go crazy with spending $8 million on 7 relievers. So just trying to keep the budget in a fair spot. So, all right. No dice, that offers on ice. Up the ante with some heat, and I'll sign tout de suite? Is this guy French? All right, let's try that again here with Tyler. Golly. I'm going to give him exactly what he wants, and no one else has offered him anything. But he's a key piece of the plan. Another piece of the plan is Tyler Holton, who we're bringing back. Another guy I super lowballed, waited him out for a few weeks, and we got him for $3.38 mil. So for comparison, Gaddis and Uceta, they wanted $7-8 million. I think Tyler Holton is going to be 90 to 95% as good as them for half the price. All right, Tyler. I mean, if he accepted it 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was offering him $1 million more. So another guy that we are getting for a lot less than he was asking. And I'm going to explain my plan now for pitching this year now that we've got Tyler, because he's a key piece. Okay, it took me forever to get this figured out, what I wanted to do. But I want to bring Fredrickson and Pyle up, who I believe are both, 2025, 2025. So guys that we got in the very first draft. And they've done well in the minors. They're high 70s overall. I like their stats. I'm actually going to move this just a little bit. So the thing is that they're young and they may struggle a little bit. And the other thing is that Fredrickson only has 64 stamina. So if he can get 5 innings, that's probably good, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have Tyler Alexander, who's a relief pitcher with 68 stamina, be in the long relief role. And he's a lefty who has absolutely kicked ass. 128 innings for a 3.02 ERA. This dude racked up 1.2 WAR. We got him for $3.5 million in a relief role. We also have another rookie, Dylan Lesko, who is going to come up in the long relief role as well. But these guys are interchangeable with Pyle and especially Fredrickson. So if they struggle, we can make a little bit of a move. We've talked about a lot of these other guys. Henriquez, Brodie, and Rasmussen have been part of this team for a while. Ben Joyce we extended for 3 years. And then Tyler Holton we just got in free agency, who's another lefty with some awesome stats. And then Jojo Romero is going to be our closer this year. Again, another lefty. But last year he had 38 saves and only 2 blown saves with a 2.45 ERA. His whip was below 1. So I actually think this is going to work out really well. And we saved a ton of money. We didn't pay a free agent pitcher $25 million. We didn't pay Bradley $20 million. I think the committee of all of these guys is going to be a good pitching staff. And then we do have 2 great pitchers. We have McClanahan, of course, as our ace. He still has 3 years left on his deal. And then this is the last year for Boz. So depending on if we're making a playoff push, we'll keep him. I expect to make a playoff push, which I expected that last year too. But anyway, we'll keep him if things are going well. If not, we can trade him, and we've got more guys coming up from the minors now that our draft picks are really starting to come to fruition. So that's the pitching plan. It took me like 2 hours to figure out what I wanted to do. I was going back and forth, and that is where I landed. So hopefully this works out great. I'm going to talk more about the plan with the lineup and the position players when we get to the intro of the next episode. But let's take a quick look at the budget. We're coming in at $181 million. So we've steadily grown it over the course of this rebuild. And now we've really started to get some pieces and start to give out some big contracts because we are going into full playoff compete mode. It took us a while to get here. I thought we were going to be there last year. I'm disappointed that this video did not include playoff baseball. So I was very motivated in the offseason to put together the best team that I possibly could with our budget. And I think I've done that. The only guy that I kind of regret right now is Lars Nootbaar. I gave him $15 million, and he did turn things around last year. He also did get hurt. But I really want Lars to do well this year. I'm not going to scroll too far down because I will spoil a little bit of what I want to talk about next episode. But that is where we stand, $181 million, couple potential trade pieces in here. And yeah, I'm excited. It took me forever to get through the offseason, so I'm excited to get back to playing some baseball.